Right, very exciting time. Well, 2.8 Cummins is in the driveway, I think. I'm not even 100% sure because they said to be home at this certain time, and I think Edison just got theirs yesterday. So I think this is it. It's a big old skid. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Worth a few bucks?
Yeah, a few. We always rebuild our engines. This is the first time we actually got a new engine.
Oh, wow.
Now, I don't think anybody's excited about a 30-year-old second-gen gas two-wheel drive truck as I am, but it is the absolute perfect truck for us, and I'm going to tell you exactly why. First Cummins swap into a Dodge.
Here we go, we're going to put some 4th gen interior into it.
I'm very excited to get these on there. Oh, that looks so good. All right, this is pretty exciting because we've been after this engine for a while. We put the 4BT in the Tahoe and then saw these at SEMA. We've never actually had a crate engine. We always rebuild our own engines, but this is pretty exciting to have the 2.8 Cummins coming into our shop, and we're gonna do some pretty epic stuff with this thing. So without further ado, we can unbox this thing. Nice. Oh, that's so cool. We got our genuine Cummins parts. These are all the parts we need to make it run. The wiring harness, throttle pedal, the ECU. I don't know if that's attached to the engine or not. Generally, we don't do unboxings. I think it's kind of silly. I got a really big smile on my face. Just heads up though that we are not sponsored by Cummins. We paid full price for this. This was expensive. All right, so the way we got it, the engine's nicely wrapped up in a big old plastic bag. We got a whole bunch of fittings, manual and stuff here with it. Some reading to do tonight to make sure that there's no special startup procedure like, oh, if you don't prime this valve, it'll blow up the second you spin it. So it is important to go over your manuals, and I'm glad that they're in the box, which is good. I don't have time. I don't have time to find side cutters because I'm just too excited. Look at that. That is pretty spectacular. From what I was reading, this already comes with a vacuum pump, so if your HVAC controls are vacuum operated, some of the older trucks, that's fine. If it's going into a vehicle with vacuum brakes, you're already set up there because diesels don't run under vacuum, so you can't just plumb into a hose. Power steering pump on it too, in case you've got hydro boosts. But because we're going hybrid, we will be running the power steering pump off of an electric pump. Kind of cheap that the bottom isn't even attached. But that's pretty epic. So it's 16 and an 1/8 across, and it is 15 and quarter to the center of the bolt holes. But basically we got to figure out how to adapt this over to an NV4500. Just temporarily, we won't have the EV stuff anyway right away. So what we're gonna do is bolt this up to the NV4500, drive it around for a while, do 0 to 60s, try to pull something with it, but she's pretty underpowered for a 3/4 ton truck. That's extended cab long box. Obviously, this is going to be more efficient than the 5.9 gas that's in it, and we don't want anybody to think, oh, you're doing the EV and all of it is in the Cummins. So let's see what's all involved in starting this thing up and plugging everything in and getting underway. This is awesome. I don't know what these giant hoses are for. I'm sure the manual will tell me, but that's some pretty 12 amp.
All right, hey guys, we are in Stony Creek. So we're looking for something for, we don't have a name for the truck yet, but for the diesel electric hybrid swap, we're doing in the 96 Ram. We're at Glenn's shop here. He used to be into doing like some fab work, exhaust work. Now he's mostly into...
I do a lot of part outs and 4th gen Dodge parts.
Here we go, we're gonna put some 4th gen interior into it. So here's what we're looking at right now. Here is the dash. We're thinking the Tesla style computer right in the middle there.
Definitely room for a big screen in that one.
Oh yeah, nice.
So.
We got passenger seat here. Looks like this probably wasn't the foreman's truck. Looks like this one was well used. If we can just get those redone. Beauty seats.
So we haven't even... Huh. Oh. Does it have stow and go?
Yeah. Holy.
Yeah, that happened. It's so disgusting. I'm gonna let you strip them.
I haven't even seen our donor truck yet, but we can only assume that it came factory cracked dash, so it only makes sense to just not fix it, just replace the whole thing.
Yeah, it's a 2nd gen feature that we just don't need right now.
All right, I got the Boss Garage's truck here right now. This is a 1995 Dodge 2500. What is so cool about this truck though is that it is completely useless. This is a 2-wheel drive gas truck, which I mean around here in Canada, 2-wheel drive is garbage. So that makes it prime candidate. We're gonna put a diesel engine under the hood. We're gonna swap it to 4-wheel drive electric. And I think the Boss Garage has a couple special things planned for it too. So I'm excited about it. I think this is a prime candidate. This is cool. You know what? I'm not here to judge people's choices.
Perfect. Look at this. Have you ever seen this? These are what they call rocker panels.
I didn't know they had little. I didn't know they had little spot welds.
They got spot welds too, yeah.
I've never seen that.
That's so odd.
I wonder if those were there from factory.
But she comes with the factory crack dash.
Like, look how clean that is.
Yeah.
some time since I was in a manual pickup truck to make sure it doesn't stall out. Man, look at the steering wheel, just ahead of its time. All the buttons on it. Wow, it's got power windows.
Yeah.
Fancy. 95. Got power outlet way ahead of its time. There's
your cup holders.
Oh, that's a good spot for it too.
Yeah.
You don't forget about your coffee down below. Oh, I wonder if it's probably because it's manual. It's got a high cup holder.
You don't want to have your
Yeah, you don't want to every time you go to shift to splash coffee everywhere. This would be a good drivetrain for whoever comes up with it. Just waving at another antique car. I've never been on Tinder, never had to. It was around after I got in my relationship, but I would assume that if you're on Tinder and then you find a girl that's really good looking, and then you finally meet her for the first time, this is probably the exact same feeling once you found a really good looking one on Tinder. This must be the same feeling.
Yeah. Smells nice, got the black tree going on.
Oh yeah.
All right, so the year is 1995. You go to a dealership and Dodge comes out with this beautiful new look. And then you see, oh man, they come with a Cummins 5.9 diesel in there. That is a manly truck. But your wife is with you and she convinces you, you don't need four-wheel drive. You don't need a Cummins, and you end up with a gas 5.9 liter, two-wheel drive Dodge truck. And then 5 years later, there's massive buyer's remorse because your fuel mileage sucks, the power's mediocre, your dash is already cracked, and you thought, oh, I got no resale value because it doesn't have a Cummins, what do I do? But that is perfect for what we're doing. We will pull out this useless drivetrain and replace that with a 2.8 Cummins, a generator, a battery pack, and 2 electric axles. So what we're doing to this is making a four-wheel drive, lifting it a little bit, painting it, giving it a new interior, and giving a new life into an old, useless pickup truck that is just months away from going to the scrapyard. Rims are going off to somewhere else, the tires are bald. What do you do with these trucks? So we picked this one up from British Columbia. It's got a couple little specks of rust on it, but it is our duty to do the best for the environment and keep these old things going as long as we possibly can. Now, we're gonna see what kind of emissions come out of a road legal truck as it is now almost 30 years old. Then we are going to rip out this 5.9. We're going to sell that in case somebody still has a purpose for it, and replace that with a 2.8 Cummins. We're gonna adapt that to the NV4500 and go back to the emission test. See what kind of emissions are coming out of a modern diesel with EGR cooler, all that fun stuff. From there, we'll pull the truck apart. The body's going off to paint. We will fit the four-wheel drive frame on there, put the axles underneath it, and then start getting ready for our EV swap. And then once we have that all working, we're going back to the emissions again and seeing what kind of emissions are coming out now that this Cummins is running at its ideal RPM with the matched load on it. So we got a lot of work to do. First things first, we're gonna get rid of these wheels and tires. I am very excited about this. I never thought that I would be this excited about a gas Dodge truck, but here I am with a big smile on my face and a new epic journey for us on the channel. I hope you stick around. Because there's going to be a lot of videos in the series. We're going to have a lot of issues. We're going to overcome all of them, hopefully, and make this one of the most unique trucks in North America. Here we go. Okay, so our Dodge is on the road. We're driving it, but the first thing we have to do is get rid of these horrible, horrible wheels and tires. So check this out. We're going 22.5, 24s are too big, but 22.5, just perfect. We're gonna get these polished, and look at the size of those. Those will be fuel efficient. Actually, these are for the Fargo. Fargo has some really sick super wides, but we are gonna get that polished. But for this girl, we've got 18-inch Ultra wheels, and I'm very excited about these. Okay, so wheels and tires make a vehicle. You can put really nice wheels and tires on an old crappy vehicle, and it'll make it look really, really good. It's the first thing you notice. Conversely, you can put some god-awful tires on a really nice looking truck, and you can ruin the whole look, in my opinion. So new for 2024, Ultra Wheel has the Chief, and they're just perfect. 18-inch by 9 inches wide. We want a little meaty looking tire because it's still a truck, but yet we want to be as fuel efficient as possible. They come in multiple different sizes, width-wise and diameter, but oh, look at that. Just gorgeous. Heavy aluminum. The caps are actually like bolted down to the rim so you don't get the rattling caps. They don't come popping in through the back. Just a really good quality rim. And even the tool to take your caps off. Oh, that's fantastic. We don't have our tires just yet. They're coming from Nitto. We're gonna throw some Nittos on there, and then we're able to throw these on the truck. And then we'll start doing our emission test. I'm very excited to get these on there. Oh, that looks so good. Nice. All right, we're at Round 2 Tires, which is a tire shop in Dunnville. That is a fantastic little shop, and they are mounting our Nitto Recon grapplers on our Ultra wheels. We went with LT285 75 R18s. As of yet, there are no EV specific tires in the sizes that we wanted. These tires will be the equalizer for each one of our dyno tests. They look fantastic, but also quiet going down the highway, and I'm excited to try these tires out. Here we go. Okay, there she is. It's funny how wheels and tires and a stance can make or break a vehicle, because these are the perfect wheels and tires for this truck. Those Ultra Wheel Chiefs look amazing. The Nitto grapplers have that nice meaty look to them, but it still looks off. And that's because the truck is stock height. And I have to take that tire off because I cannot turn that tire. So I got to pop those old wheels and tires back on again. Just on the front, we'll just have a little bit of rubbage. It won't be too much of a difference either, because even though the diameter is less, the width is more. So there's it should be fairly accurate. But as soon as we're back, we'll rip the cab off, rip that 360 out. That's for sale, because it's got good oil pressure and not many miles on it, 120,000 miles, something like that. So there's nothing wrong with that engine, but we're gonna throw the 2.8 in there and the 4-wheel drive kit. So it's gonna get the 4-inch lift, and then she'll be all gold and redo the front end, and then back to the dyno again. Here we go. All right, so 2.8 is just about ready to go into the Dodge. The Dodge, we're finished with the emission testing, and that will be a completely separate video, but just to explain that process. But now we can figure out how to get this thing inside a Dodge. The first Cummins swap into a Dodge. So we've got wiring harness. So this is the harness that goes inside the engine. We've got oil filter and fuel filter. Fuel filter's got the primer pump on it, very important. We've got oil filter housing and fittings that fit onto the oil filter lines. And we've got the harness for the engine and the throttle pedal. A couple more odds and ends, but that's the gist of it. So we're gonna start plugging some stuff in, seeing what we need for coolant line adapters and things of that nature. And then we will go from there. Okay, so this is about as easy as it gets. We've got 2 harnesses, one for inside the cab, one for outside the cab. You plug the outside the cab into the engine computer. Engine computer will mount underneath the hood somewhere with the plugs facing down. You've got your engine harnesses, so just battery and ground. We've got heater signals, and then just your fan controls and a tack signal, and then that goes to a very nice terminated Deutsch bolt connector. So from here you can plug it in and then you've got your OBD port. All your information is right there. We've got the resistor for the CAN bus, very important. That's where you add your transmission and stuff, but you need to have a resistor at either end. Your CAN display, so if we get a gauge cluster that we can that can read all the information, we can grab that from there. And then just a couple of our dash lights, so key on, and then they're all labeled. Your stop, wait to start, your lamps for your mill lamp, and your tack, and your wait to start, and that's it. That's all you need to wire. So super simple. Battery power to the starter, put a nice big fat ground on the engine somewhere. Everything else is already done. So we'll figure out how to add the fuel lines. We got fuel line down here. So we got fuel going in, we got return somewhere, coolant, and we have to plug in our oil. And one wire for your throttle pedal. So make sure you get that throttle, because that helps you rev it up a bit. So super easy. Here we go. Okay, we're gonna fire this thing up. We'll just pretend that this is a firewall. We'll put a fuel filter right here. Mount that. Got a couple fittings so that we can run some 8-amp lines into the fuel filter. Put a fuel tank up top. Put a throttle pedal right about here-ish. And it shouldn't take that long to get this thing spinning, making some noise. Here we go. Okay, all right, so we're just about ready to fire up this engine. Now this engine has ran before, but they ship it dry. So you can see the little baggie of coolant. They've had it on some sort of stand, and they've already fired it to make sure that it runs and everything is copacetic. But it does need oil. Now for this engine, we're gonna use T4 1540. It requires 1540 oil, but this is still a brand new engine. And the best thing for a diesel, when you first fire it up after a rebuild or a brand new engine, is to just load this thing and make it work as hard as possible. All these parts are just getting stressed and pushed into each other, and they seat. So we are going straight to the dyno from here. We'll do an oil change again right after we're done with the dyno, and then we're gonna switch to T6. When we put our engines on the dyno, we actually saw a 10% increase in power while it's on the dyno. So if it was a 100 horsepower tractor, 110 horsepower by the time we're done. So it'll be interesting to see what the dyno numbers put out. But regardless, we're gonna use good Rotella oil, start to finish. And there we are, nice up to level. I can feel confident that we can just beat the tar out of this thing, and we will be protected. But before we do that, just for fun, let's fire this thing up. Here we go. Okay, so we've got our fuel, clean diesel, fresh diesel from town. You got fuel coming in, you got an arrow on your filter, your arrow coming out. You've got a primer pump, you turn that counterclockwise, that comes loose, and you can start pumping it. There's your bleeder. From there it goes out, goes into your pump. That is your feed into the pump there. The return has the return also coming off of your injectors, so that'll be your hint that that's your return. So that goes back into the tank. We've got just an air filter onto our intake there, because we're only gonna run it for a couple seconds. We're gonna listen to it run, make some noise, and that's it. There's your belt routing for no AC. Comes off of your breather. All your crankcase ventilation has to go back into your intake, so that goes behind this pipe. You don't wanna put that in front of this, because then your MAF will pick that up. Now your MAF goes to your intake on your turbo, and it's a different size. I don't know why it's so small here and it's so big here. I'll try and figure that out later. Now our readings aren't going to match. We're not going to have boost, but we don't build boost during startup anyway. We just want to hear this thing run. So we got oil in it. From there it goes out to your intercooler, over to the other side, over and in. This is your sensor for the bottom of the fuel filter, and that's just a Deutsch connector, I think. So this is pretty short, so it's probably not going to fit where we go, so we can make a new harness for that. And then your sensor wire for your MAF is right here. I don't know if this is air conditioning or what. It might be. That's the only thing that's here. There's your bracket for the AC, but it's not actually there. They give you provisions and a solenoid for an grid heater, but I don't know where this supposed grid heater is. So I'll have to look into that. You got your particulate filter. in the back there and your exhaust coming out. It's gonna be pretty noisy. I don't know if I can hook up the exhaust from the Bronco. I might do that, but and then that's it. So we mounted the computer just on our little makeshift firewall here. We got our throttle pedal, and then this is key power. So key power is very important. This orange wire here, you have to have key power while you're cranking, and that's like that with every system. And just make sure that you have a button somewhere to override it, or a lot of the starters will have a second terminal on the solenoid, so when the solenoid connects, it also has power, and that is during cranking. Keep that in mind. Everything else is just battery, the battery power, your ground, and don't mind my ground is red. That's just bolted to the side of the block, and then just found a battery cable that went to the starter. So we should crack this loose, start pumping. The fuel should go through here, and then it's common rail, so this pump has its own lift pump on it, and it's enough to satisfy the pump. They recommend not putting a FAS or anything else on there because that will mess with the pressures, they say. You can take that as what it is, but we're gonna follow the book. So let's see if this thing makes some noise. Here we go. Crack that. Maybe slide our battery over here so it doesn't spill all over that. Actually, I'm going to disconnect this just in case there's some crap in there. Then they recommend not pre-filling the filter, which I usually do. As long as you fill it on the outside of the filter, you're perfectly fine. But oh, there we go. There's the fuel. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Get that air out of there. We got some fuel coming out of there. We can hook that line back up again, but might as well get a little extra out. So we have nice clean fuel. Keep going until we get all the air out of the filter. Why is that leaking? That's not right. Huh. All right then, well I gotta fix that leak. Hold on, we'll tighten this. We're gonna damage the O-ring? That's weird. That's weird. Okay, so if I'm honest, I don't really like those plastic clips. I just put the hose right over the barb, and that'll work for just today, but I know that I will buy a proper fitting for that, a nice steel one, and then go to AN fittings, which is by far superior. I already bought the 8N fitting for this, so we'll throw that in. But I think that's it. So now it's rock hard. I got fuel going to there. Once I put my key on, hook that up, it should make a bunch of clicking noises or something's supposed to happen. If not, if your gauge doesn't light up, then there's an issue. Probably a ground. You probably forgot a ground. But that should be it. I'm kind of nervous because this is the first. I shouldn't be, but I am. Okay, we'll double check the oil again. There's really nothing else. Look at that, right up full. We're good to go. All right, let's make some noise. If the birds are shut up, we can hear some clicking, hopefully. I don't know if you guys heard that. I heard that. So let's bump this thing over. Power. We got starter. Should be good. right, there you have it. A running 2.8 Cummins. It's a lot quieter than I thought it was. And that's without the exhaust on it. So that'll sound really odd in that Dodge Ram because everybody expects a big old 12 valve, but she's nice and quiet. I like it. From here, we're gonna pull the cab off and we are going to put that little 2.8 in front of this NV4500. We're gonna put the 4-wheel drive kit on there, upgrade all the steering so that she goes down the road straight before we mess with the E-axles, because we wanna show exactly what this little 2.8 does. Obviously, it's gonna be better on fuel and power and emissions, but we wanna have a baseline as well before we put the E-axles in. So while we're still getting all the information together for building our E-axles, that's taking some time. We're definitely documenting all of this properly at the University of McMaster. So you want to stick around and see all of that. Pile of stuff happening behind the scenes. We're heading to China in a couple weeks, but before that, we've got videos coming out on the Silverado, the Audi. There's stuff happening on the other channel. Engine rebuild on a skid steer, plus PTO pins and brakes on a 90C. So much good stuff happening. Thanks for watching, guys. Seeing the emails that are coming in and wondering what's happening next. It just blows my mind every single time. And we've got updates for you, but we can't share some of that just yet. So you have to like and subscribe so you get these notifications, because it's going to be a very exciting year here at the Boss Garage. Thanks for watching, guys. Remember, if you're not filthy, you're not rich. Here we go.